arise.
Well, I'm a man on an island. I personally think Westbrook is a better player than Durant.
Oh, really?
Yes. I personally, if Westbrook was 6'6", 6'7", with the type of athleticism, with his speed, how he gets to the basket with ease, the jump shot is a lot underrated than a lot of people pay attention to. I know he's a chucker. He has the Kobe Bryant gene as far as a guy who's never met a shot he didn't like. But I think if he was just a tad bit taller, the defense, he's a pretty good defensive player. The defense would be better because he'd be guarding players like LeBron. He's already physically fit. He's not a lazy player. To me, the only knocks on his game is his height or lack thereof, and the fact that he has this mentality of, I have to take the final shot. And when you have a guy like Kevin Durant that you're playing alongside with, if I'm Westbrook, I'm not saying I'm going to take it easy, but me and Durant, we're going to partner up and we're going to try to do our due diligence to win this title. I think that when it hits Westbrook, once the season starts, that, oh, crap, I'm the man now, for now. I have to own up to my contract. I have to prove to not only the organization, but to myself that I can lead this team. I think if that happens, he moves up in that upper echelon, that top 5, as far as best players in the league. Problem is that sometimes that I'm the man doesn't come in the form of pride, as far as doing everything necessary to lead the team to victory. Unfortunately, it comes in the form of selfishness. And if he's the selfish Russell, they're doomed, honestly. The second team.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You got some thoughts on that?
Yeah. I think, like you're saying, he does. If he like you said, if he was taller, he would be a insane player, I think, and he already is an unreal player at his position. I think he's probably, the most athletic player at his position, maybe ever. I mean, him back when Derrick Rose was in his prime, but I mean, a lot of people say it's the golden age of point guards in the NBA, and it's true. I mean, there's so many, and Russell Westbrook's right up there, the cream of the crop. And when it comes to athleticism, he's unmatched, I'd say. And I don't know how he's gonna react, because a lot of people think he already acts like he is the man, on that team, despite the fact that he has Durant. And so if this season starts off poorly, which it very well could, it's going to be interesting to see how he reacts to that, because part of being the man on a team is, leadership. Mm-hmm. And we've seen him and Durant clash heads before in game, even though the media's kind of blown it up out of proportion.
That's what we do.
But but it'll be interesting to see how he reacts to being he is the only guy there right now, and they don't have a lot of depth on the wing or anywhere really. So it'll be really interesting to see how the team stays afloat. What's your second team?
Second team is Golden State.
Okay.
I think with Steve Kerr there, and they got a fabulous squad. Andrew Bogut can't stay healthy to save his life, but they got a fabulous squad. I love the growth between Steph Curry and Klay Thompson during the FIBA championships. Klay Thompson especially. I think that given a situation where he wasn't in Steph Curry's shadow, I think he would be regarded much higher than what he already is. Let's say, hypothetically, Golden State decides to trade Klay Thompson to Minnesota for Kevin Love. And you have both players flip-flopping areas. Minnesota, for some reason, the media believes it's not that big of a market. Me personally, I think if I have an opportunity to bring what I call asses in seats, people who want to watch me every day, I want that opportunity to do it. And I think that Klay Thompson, if away from Steph Curry, I think he would be a guy in Minnesota that would have been able to put asses in seats. Something real important. I think with his defense, I think his shot has improved. His handle is a lot better, and he has a better mentality as far as I'm not Steph Curry's sidekick. I'm Steph Curry's equal. He's just getting the headlines, and that's exactly how I want it to be. Thing is about this team, though, I thought that they were good, and I thought that they had almost peaked with Mark Jackson as their head coach. Now with Steve Kerr, a man with no coaching experience, we don't know how that team's going to respond. What happens if that team goes on a long losing streak of 4 games or more? They come out east, time zone change. Sure, Steve Kerr has had experience playing with the Bulls or playing with the Lakers and other teams here and there, but I just don't know. It's kind of like a wait and see for me.
Okay. I kind of disagree with you on that point, though. I think Golden State. Yeah. Golden State. I think they have too much talent on that team for them to miss on the playoffs. To me, I think that they are the number 4 team in the West, behind San Antonio, Oklahoma, and the Clippers. And like you said, Klay Thompson, he's a guy that a lot of people are pointing to and saying if he was to go away, some people think it's going to be the James Harden thing, where he just explodes. But the other side of that is I don't know if Golden State is going to be willing to let him go, because, I mean, this is a guy that they need on their team, and they know that, too, because they had the option to get Kevin Love, and they decided on Klay Thompson instead. And I think the reasons there aren't necessarily because they think Klay Thompson is a better player than Kevin Love, because I think anyone that watches the NBA on a week-to-week basis can probably tell you that Kevin Love is probably the superior player at this point in their careers, but what Klay Thompson is to that team is so huge, because Steph Curry, for all he does offensively, is a sieve on defense. Ooh. And they need Klay Thompson for his defense. They definitely, I know the coach last year, he definitely talked up his defense and kind of almost got overrated a little bit in how good of a defender he was last season. But, I mean, they need him on the perimeter there, because that is not a good defensive team, especially when Bogut is unhealthy. But, I mean, that offense is just, it's one of the most potent ones in the league, that's for sure.
Okay, so you got your top 4. And,
yeah, and I guess I didn't really touch on what he brought up about Kerr, and that's a serious question mark, and it's kind of the new thing right now, I guess, with first-year coaches getting these big gigs. And I don't know, I think last year you saw that maybe the whole first-year coaching thing, it can be a struggle at first, but I think it's definitely feasible. And you saw that in Brooklyn with Jason Kidd, but I guess the counter-argument to that is they had a ton of veteran players to help lean on him there and kind of be coaches on the court. But I think Steve Kerr, he's the kind of guy that is really going to excel at the coaching job due to, I mean, just kind of the mentality that he has and the kind of player he was. I just think it kind of leads up to him being at least an average coach in his first year. And I think with even at least an average coach, Golden State's going to get into the playoffs in the West.
Point taken. I got him in my top 4 too. But
okay.
As far as looking at teams that might drop out of the picture, they're one bad decision, or like I say, one set of adversity. How Steve Kerr handles the adversity will totally dictate how far they go. I mean, just like you said, you hit it on the head. That's a talented team out there. And with all that talent, they are legitimately one rim protector away from actually winning the West. You take a guy like Serge Ibaka. You put him on that team. You flip-flop him and David Lee, for instance. David Lee, fine player, pretty decent numbers. Put him in Oklahoma City, I think David Lee becomes a better player, just because that system needs a third offensive guy, and he's a good enough rebounder to make up for the defensive mistakes. You put Serge Ibaka on the Warriors, and my goodness, anytime Steph Curry has someone that jumps in front of him, someone that blows by him, the rim protection is right there. And it's a guy who is proven to stay healthy, pretty much throughout his career, aside from a few injuries here or there. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see, and I'm excited.
For sure.
I'm absolutely excited. Now, as far as who you got coming out of the West, I'm almost certain you're going to cover that in your preview.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to make sure. And folks, if you want to read the preview, it should be up and running sometime tomorrow. Not going to guarantee a time. Life gets in the way. David and I, we both have lives. We apologize ahead of time. Don't want to hold anything up. But go to the outsideanalysis.com. You're listening to the Outside Analysis Podcast, NBA Preview Edition, live on Spreaker.com. And if you're podcasting it or want to listen to the podcast, it should be up and running shortly, hopefully also on YouTube and all those other places. Now, we got a little time left. We have not discussed the East and that albatross or elephant in the room known as the Cleveland Cavaliers and LeBron James. Now, you're from the Minnesota area. You've been around there for a while, I'm assuming, although you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan, which I kind of still trying to come to terms with that.
Yeah, I'm not even sure how it came about, but I mean, well, when I was younger, I started liking the Eagles, and it's been like that ever since.
Okay, I'm not gonna fault you for it. I can't say anything. I'm a sad Bears fan, so we talked about that yesterday. But anyway, all the talk during the summer was, when will the Cleveland Cavaliers and Minnesota Timberwolves make the trade, sending Andrew Wiggins to Minnesota and Kevin Love to Cleveland? Does Kevin Love, wonderful stats and all, does he become the difference maker in Cleveland as he was in Minnesota to a small degree? That's the question that I pose out there. I'll ask you that question. I'll answer that question in a moment.
Yeah, I think Kevin Love is the best power forward in the league. LaMarcus Aldridge and Blake Griffin had some things to say about that last summer, particularly in the postseason, and especially Blake with his continued development. But I think what Kevin Love brings to the table on the offensive end and in terms of passing and rebounding is unparalleled. Everything that Bosch was for Miami, and everyone's comparing Miami and Cleveland this year, which is not an unfair thing to do, and it's to be expected considering that was LeBron's last team. But I think for everything that Chris Bosch did, Kevin Love is going to do it even better. He's a better rebounder. He's a better shooter. And I don't know if you've seen some of the YouTube highlights of Kevin Love's outlet passing, but it is legitimately unreal.
I saw the one outlet
and
pass.
I think...
I'm sorry.
Outlet pass to Corey Brewer down the court or whatever last season.
I saw that. But I saw
that one.
He had one just in preseason. I believe it was to LeBron James. He grabbed the rebound. This is when they were playing the Bulls. He grabbed the rebound and just literally millisecond later, whipped it right down the court.
Yes. And I think Kevin Love is such a talented player, and they have such a combination of talented players, obviously between Kyrie, LeBron, and K-Love, that when you put a player like that, a collection of those players on a team, and it's going to make everyone around them so much better. And when one of these talented players is such a complimentary star like Kevin Love is, like he's the kind of player that can be a number one option on a team, but if you have him as your number two option on a team, I mean, you are just set because of how much he can complement the team and all the things he can do. And I think he makes Cleveland the favorite in the East, assuming that they can mesh everything together. And that's the question in and of itself with a new head coach. And, you see hiccups along the way when these talented teams get together, like Miami's first year and other talented teams like that. I guess, what's your take on all this?
Well, I think Kevin Love makes a big difference. I don't see them as the favorites.